19-0 run, against the Washington Mystics, 18-7 to start the fourth quarter. Lost the lead, lost the game. We just lost back-to-back games against teams we had no business losing to, even without Caitlin Clark.
It looked like the Indiana Fever has lost another game due to Kelsey Mitchell. Guys, for this one here.
Well. Looks like Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell just turned another winnable game into a comedy reel. And the internet isn't letting this one slide. The best part, Sophie Cunningham, the one player who could have saved the day, was left wide open. Wide open. Before we go any further, tell me, would you have trusted Kelsey in crunch time?
Coaching versus the Mystics, her game plan was piss poor. It looked like a third grader probably writ her game plan out.
It's honestly hard to believe we're still talking about this, but the Indiana Fever never failed to give us fresh material. This latest disaster, courtesy of Stephanie White's play calling and Kelsey Mitchell's inability to close games, was the kind of meltdown that makes fans scream at their TVs. And Sophie Cunningham. She's standing there like the human answer key, wide open, arms ready, probably mouthing, "Pass me the damn ball," only to be ignored like a group text from your aunt at midnight. The disrespect couldn't have been louder if they'd announced it on the loudspeaker.
Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general, did it feel the same as the first half on that end? Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And so I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had for the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opponent attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay. But, we just have to adjust, and we need them. We've faced a lot of adversity. But we should be used to that by now.
This is what happens when ego meets bad decision. Stephanie White clearly thought Mitchell was her go-to closer, when in reality, Kelsey has the consistency of a vending machine that keeps eating your dollar. Sure, Mitchell can score in spurts, but when the game is on the line, history has shown us exactly what happens. She clanks shots, she forces drives, and she fumbles opportunities like clockwork. The numbers don't lie, and neither do the collective groans of Fever fans who've seen this movie too many times.
Second quarter comes around. Slippage starts to start. We get up to a 13-point lead. Eventually it falls down. We end up 5 at the half, and that's not a bad half. Come out of the half in the dreaded third quarter, and we are flat. And I feel like in quarters like this, it just feels like we're slashing our own tires. Like we are stifling our own momentum at every turn we can. Like the team came out and they literally looked like they were uncoordinated all of a sudden. Like they were just missing easy shots. They were like overshooting, like they were trying to draw fouls or something. I don't know what's going on with this team.
Now, before we get too deep into the finger pointing, let's pause and talk about Sophie Cunningham. This woman has proven time and again that when you need a bucket late in the game, she is not afraid of the moment. Cunningham isn't a superstar, but she's reliable, clutch, and brings the kind of energy that makes defenses nervous. And on this night, she was wide open, practically waving a neon sign that said, "I got this." Yet somehow, Stephanie White chose the least clutch option available. That's coaching malpractice, plain and simple. And here's the kicker. Even Caitlin Clark, who's in her second year now and has already carried this team more than the coaching staff deserves, looked completely fed up. The cameras caught her face after the final play. And you didn't need to be a body language expert to read it. Pure frustration. She's out there busting her tail, trying to give this team relevance, and then she has to watch her coach hand the ball to a player who has consistently failed in those moments. Clark's face said what every fan was thinking. Why in the world did you not pass to Sophie? But let's not stop with just the final play. This wasn't a one-possession disaster. It was a full game implosion. The Fever had momentum, the crowd was into it, and the Mystics weren't exactly unbeatable. Indiana had multiple chances to seize control. But what did they do? They coughed it up with lazy turnovers, sloppy defense, and predictable offensive sets. Stephanie White looked like she was reading out of a decade-old coaching manual, while her players looked lost and out of rhythm. This is what happens when you combine poor preparation with poor execution. And then when it mattered most, you top it all off with the wrong player taking the wrong shot. Instant regret doesn't even begin to cover it.
Friend Carolyn Peck been, and where has the Indiana Fever are a more dangerous team without Caitlin Clark conversation gone? How come once the Indiana Fever suddenly stop that 5-game win streak, lose 3 of their last 4, how come Carolyn Peck has suddenly stopped showing up on TV? How come that narrative of the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark, why has that suddenly stopped?
Fans were not quiet about this either. Social media exploded the second that final possession ended. Clips of Sophie standing alone on the perimeter started, making the rounds like wildfire. Commenters were roasting both Mitchell and White for what might be the dumbest decision of the season. And, to be fair, they earned every bit of that roasting. You can't blame the refs. You can't blame fatigue. You can't even blame luck. This was 100% on the coach and the player who decided hero ball was a good idea.
To the Stephanie White press conference, we know this lady is allergic, flat out allergic to the word accountability. Stephanie White takes no accountability for anything. We are going to watch her pass the blame to everybody. I have not watched it yet. I'm going to see it with you guys.
It also raises a bigger question. What exactly is Stephanie White's long-term vision for this team? Because from the outside looking in, it seems like she's more interested in forcing certain narratives than actually winning basketball games. If you truly wanted to win, you would have drawn up a play for Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark, not Kelsey Mitchell. That's not disrespect to Kelsey. Well, actually, maybe it is, but it's also just the truth. At this point, Mitchell has shown us who she is. She's not a closer. She's not reliable under pressure. Yet somehow, she keeps being handed the keys at crunch time. That's insanity. And if you're Sophie Cunningham, how do you not feel slighted? You did your job. You spaced the floor. You got yourself into position. And you were ignored for no reason other than stubborn coaching. It's the kind of decision that makes players lose faith in leadership. And once that faith is gone, good luck getting it back. The locker room dynamic has to be tense after a loss like this, especially when everyone knows who should have taken the shot and who actually took it. You can't hide from film, and you can't hide from the truth. Sophie was the answer, and they ignored her. We also have to talk about the standings. The Fever aren't exactly secure in their playoff positioning, and every game matters. Dropping games like this doesn't just hurt morale, it hurts the math. They're sliding down into 7th place. And if they keep this up, they're going to back their way into the playoffs looking like a team that doesn't even belong there. And that's not fair to players like Caitlin Clark or Aaliyah Boston, who are giving everything they have. They deserve a coach who knows how to close out games, not one who keeps repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. The irony in all this, Sophie Cunningham's clutch reputation is exactly why teams respect her. She's proven she can hit big shots. Opposing defenses know it. But apparently Stephanie White didn't get the memo. Instead, she thought it was a good idea to let Mitchell barrel into the lane like it was a random Tuesday practice scrimmage. And, of course, the result was predictable. A missed layup, a wasted possession, and another tally in the loss column. It's incompetence dressed up as strategy. Now, let's circle back to Stephanie White for a second because honestly, this entire mess falls at her feet. A head coach's #1 job in crunch time is to put their players in a position to succeed, not in a position to fail, not in a position to repeat the same disaster you literally saw last game. And yet, White drew up the exact same scenario. I mean, how do you watch Kelsey Mitchell miss a big shot one night then decide, yeah, let's run that back? That's not coaching. That's stubbornness wrapped in cluelessness. It's like trying the same broken remote batteries again and again, expecting the channel to change. At some point, you got to admit the batteries are dead. And that's exactly what Mitchell is in crunch time. Dead weight. She might be decent in the first 3 quarters, but the fourth quarter, forget about it. She's the basketball version of Windows Vista, always crashing at the worst possible moment. And White still hasn't figured that out. And let's be honest, Sophie Cunningham isn't exactly out here demanding MVP treatment. She's not looking to steal the spotlight from Caitlin Clark or Aaliyah Boston. She just wants to do her job and be trusted when it matters most. And in this game, her job was clear. Take that wide-open 3 and send the crowd into orbit. The fact that she didn't even touch the ball is downright criminal. Sophie's probably replaying that possession in her head right now, wondering how in the world she got iced out by a coach who supposedly preaches team basketball. Yeah, team basketball. Unless your name is Sophie Cunningham, apparently. Now about Caitlin Clark. People forget she's in her second year as a pro, not a rookie anymore. That means she's not just the shiny new toy in the WNBA. She's the foundation the Fever are supposed to be building around. And here she is watching her coach blow another late game situation by trusting the wrong player. If you're Clark, how do you not wonder, is this the organization that's going to let me reach my full potential? Because right now, the answer looks like a hard no. This isn't just about losing games. It's about losing trust. And when you lose trust with your best player, the clock starts ticking on her patience. That's dangerous for a franchise that can't afford to lose her. And while we're on it, Caitlin's reaction told the whole story. Her frustration was written all over her face. You can't mask that on camera, and the fans saw it, too. That wasn't the face of someone upset about a missed shot. That was the face of someone who knows the wrong decision was made and is sick of watching the same mistakes drag this team down. If she's already this annoyed in year 2, what's she going to look like in year 3 if nothing changes? Spoiler, it won't be pretty. Fans have been saying this for months, but the Fever front office clearly isn't listening. Stop overvaluing Kelsey Mitchell in big moments. She's had years to prove she can be a closer. And guess what? She hasn't. You know what you call a player who's been given chance after chance to prove they're clutch and never delivers? A liability. And yet, she keeps getting the ball like she's some kind of Kobe Bryant clone. The delusion is real. And let's not act like this is a one-off. This team has made snatching defeat from the jaws of victory their official brand this season. Close games don't excite Fever fans anymore. They terrify them because everyone knows how the script ends. You'll get flashes of brilliance from Clark, solid work from Boston, maybe some big minutes from Lexi Hull or Sonia Citroen, and then boom. The ball ends up in Mitchell's hands with the game on the line, and it's bricked into oblivion. Rinse. Repeat. Regret. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham sits there being the adult in the room. She spaces the floor. She moves without the ball. She does the dirty work. And when her number is called, she usually delivers. That's why fans are angry on her behalf. This wasn't just a wasted possession. It was a slap in the face to a player who earned the right to take that shot. Sophie might not get all the headlines, but her teammates know her value. And after this debacle, it's impossible not to wonder if she's questioning her role on this team. 2. And speaking of teammates, how do you think Aaliyah Boston feels? She put up a strong stat line again because of course she did. She's the most consistent player on this roster, only to watch the game slip away on a brain-dead coaching decision. Boston deserves better. Clark deserves better. Cunningham definitely deserves better. What they don't deserve is a coach who treats end-o-fame possessions like a lottery ticket, just hoping maybe this time Mitchell won't screw it up. Spoiler alert, she will. It's even worse when you look at the standings. The Fever are 18-16 now, hanging on to 7th place by their fingernails. That's not good enough. Not for a team with this much talent. And the losses aren't just losses, they're momentum killers. You can't build confidence when every close game ends in disaster. By the time the playoffs roll around, this team is either going to be mentally fried or packing for Cancun. And you can thank Stephanie White and her brilliant strategy for that. Fans aren't stupid. They see what's going on. They see the wasted possessions, the poor decision and the stubbornness from the bench. And they're calling it out loudly. Social media receipts don't lie. The internet roasted Mitchell and White after this game, and honestly, they deserved every meme, every sarcastic comment, and every trade Kelsey now tweet, because this is what happens when you ignore the obvious. You get clowned, and they earn that clowning. The real tragedy in all this is the wasted potential. This team has the pieces to be great. Clark is a generational talent. Boston is a rock in the paint. Cunningham is a reliable shooter. And even role players like Lexi Hull can make a difference. But when your coach can't manage the final 2 minutes of a game, all that talent gets flushed down the drain. And that's exactly what happened here. It wasn't about the Mystics being unstoppable. It was about the Fever beating themselves again. So here's the bottom line. Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell just handed the game away, and the regret is instant. White for making the call, Mitchell for bricking yet another clutch opportunity, and the entire team for watching Sophie Cunningham get treated like an afterthought. That's the story here. And unless something changes fast, this won't just be one bad night. It'll be the legacy of this team. Instant regret over and over again. So, what did you think? Should Sophie Cunningham have been the one to take that final shot? Or do you still trust Stephanie White's vision? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like instant regret all around. Let me know in the comments. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next meltdown breakdown.